Hi. So we are going to go over a few different things about trauma and why it happens, the reasoning for it, and how to basically help yourself not be perplexed or encased by trauma or PTSD and things like this. So back long time ago, right? We had a lot of different things that tried to kill us, right? We had mountain lions, we had tigers, bears, uh, other tribes, other people, all these different things. And if basically you're walking in an area, for example, you're out hiking, looking for berries, looking for food, looking for fish, whatever, and you came across a lot of fish or a lot of berries, and you're with your friend gets attacked and mauled by a bear and dies, right? So you would experience something that's called PTSD from this action. And what you would do is you would remember very, very, very vividly everything around you, you know. Um, so that way that when you get back to the tribe, you get back to everyone else, you're able to tell everyone, hey, there's a bear over here. We have to remember there's a bear over here. A few years go by, you're still have PTSD. Hey, there's a bear over there. So it's a survival instinct, more or less. And we have kept this natural programming all throughout till now, modern time. Um, but our bodies, our brains, everything don't really know how to adjust to modern life in that sense. So it's kind of like you can feel really anxious going to a job interview because, well, hey, if you don't get this job, it means bad things. But it's not going to kill you. You're not going to die from a bad job interview. It's just this role that anxiety trauma takes place in modern times, and it also does apply to things we might see online, or particular instances where something might go really bad. I mean, if you were mugged, or worse, or other things happened, um, you might avoid that one spot, but now it might extend to other places. If you were mugged in an alley, well, you're probably not going to go to more alleys. And that is part of the PTSD. And the thing about it is our conscious knows and can rationalize. We can rationalize anything, whether it was, well, this is a bad part of town, it's poorly lit, um, any number of different things. Um, we can rationalize and say, hey, these are the exigent circumstances around this instance. Let's try not to replicate it, right? But what ends up happening is we will interpret a lot of other things because our subconscious basically has this question, and this is what PTSD is basically going back to the event and replaying it to try to figure out, okay, well, how can I solve this issue? We still haven't solved this issue. That's why we're remembering it. But the subconscious doesn't really get that, you can take all the protections in the world for it. If the subconscious isn't satisfied with the answer that it has, it's not really going to matter. It's not going to go into it, you know. So that's basically what trauma is now. Um, And yeah, so one of the ways that you can, I guess, remove it, well, there's a few different ways. One could be exposure therapy. It's basically just going into the situations more, or at least some of the context, not all of it, but some of it, and basically developing a sense of calm around it until you're eventually calm. So that's kind of like a brute force type of thing. You just keep on doing something until eventually it's no longer traumatizing, scary, whatever it might be. One of the issues with that is it can reset. I mean, I'm more of a habit type of person. So if I don't do a habit for a while, I kind of lose it. Um, and that applies to other people as well. So having basically it just changed in your subconscious helps a lot more, in my opinion. I actually do hypnosis. If anyone's interested, Serenity Hypnosis Center. If you want to go that route, more than welcome. If not, okay, that's fine. Um, Another way to go about doing it is really just taking a long look and meditating on what do I need to know from this example? Because that's the reason that it's playing back. That's the reason why you might remember something. And I used to have PTSD as well, so I do understand it. It was about other things, but you basically just have to go through it and see, okay, well, what do I need to learn from this? What do I need to do or know so then I can basically let go of this memory, knowing that it's not going to happen again because I'm either changing a certain aspect of myself, changing a certain aspect of what I'm doing, um, and changing a certain aspect of how I'm living. And this can apply to anything, really. I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge event. It can be something that is actually quite minor that you want to change too. This could be, well, why am I scared of commitment? You know, and then you go over certain examples in your brain where, maybe you were hurt in commitments. And you basically dissect it and go over and say, hey, okay, what do I need in order to be okay with commitments now? How can I change my life in order to uh, go over that? So it's really simple. Even one of the things I do recommend to people, if they can, it can be a bit of a jarring process, but it really, really does help. It helps a lot. Is writing down the entire story of what happened, and that does help a bit in the sense of exposure therapy. But writing down the entire story of what happened, um, and basically dissecting it, making it so it's normalized in a way, or not normalized, but in a sense of where the emotional impact doesn't affect you as much. That definitely does help. There was actually a study done long, long, long time ago, right after the World War II, and essentially what happened when a lot of Jewish people came over to Israel. They started seeing a lot of these spicy magazines about Jewish prisoners and Nazi guards, right? And this happened. It was a Nazi guard woman, and all these things. It was a comic series of spicy comic series stuff. And what happened was people were questioning, hey, this was like one of the worst instances of modern time. This is one of the worst things to happen. Why are people so infatuated with these magazines? And they basically saw that, well, two things mainly: humor and sexuality. When they're brought out of a traumatic moment, it basically releases enough endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, all these different things to make it so the particular topic is at least okay to talk about in a way. And that can be why, with a lot of, and this kickstarted a lot of different studies. That was kind of just the root of it. I think it happened back in late 60s, early 70s, and people started talking about what happened during World War II a lot from that. Um, but it really does go into the psychology of, well, why do people make jokes about very tragic things? Why do people make jokes about some very big trauma? Or, I mean, if you've ever made a joke about something that's really bad in your life, it's a way to basically normalize it so then it's not as impactful on your current state of being. Um, yeah, so quick tidbit, if you wanted to hear it. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, feel free to leave a message and I can get back to you on it. Hope you have a great day and subscribe if you can.